Captain Hyunwoo Kim sat in his command chair and looked at the stars outside his ship. The new Sol was flying through space far from Earth. This was humanity's first big trip to explore the far edges of their galaxy. Hyunwoo felt excited and a little scared. No human had ever been this far from home before. "Captain," said So-Young Choi from her seat at the communications desk. "I'm getting something strange on the sensors. It looks like a ship, but it's not moving right." Hyunwoo turned to look at her. So-Young was the best communications officer in the human fleet. If she said something was strange, he believed her. "Show me," he said. The main screen lit up with an image of space. At first, Hyunwoo could not see anything. Then So-Young pointed to a small dot that was spinning slowly. "There," she said. "It's a ship, but it's badly damaged. I'm picking up a weak distress signal." Dayan Park looked up from her engineering station. She was a small woman, but very smart. "Captain, the signal is not human. It's coming from an alien ship." Everyone on the bridge became quiet. They had always hoped to meet aliens, but this was the first time it was really happening. "What does the signal say?" Hyunwoo asked. So-Young worked at her controls for a few minutes. "I can't understand the language, but the computer is trying to translate. It keeps saying the same word over and over. The computer thinks it means help." Jamin Lee stood up from his weapons station. He was tall and strong, and his job was to protect the ship. "Captain, this could be a trap. We don't know anything about these aliens. They could be dangerous." Hyunwoo understood Jamin's worry. It was smart to be careful when meeting strangers. But the signal sounded desperate and someone needed help. "Daeun, how long would it take us to reach that ship?" he asked. "About 2 hours, sir," Daeun replied. "And Jamin, can you have our weapons ready just in case?" "Yes, Captain, but if we're going to help them, we should do it fast. Their ship looks like it's falling apart." Hyunwoo made his decision. "We're going to help them. Set course for that ship, but everyone stay alert." The new Sol changed direction and flew toward the alien ship. As they got closer, they could see how badly damaged it was. There were huge holes in its side and it was leaking air into space. "Oh no," So-Young said. "Captain, I'm getting life signs, but they're very weak. I think people are dying over there." "Can we dock with them?" Hyunwoo asked Daeun. "They're docking. Port is destroyed, but I think I can attach our ship to theirs. It won't be pretty, but it should work." "Do it." Daeun worked her magic with the ship's controls. Slowly, carefully, she brought the new Sol close to the alien ship. There was a loud clang as the two ships connected. "Jamin, So-Young, you're with me," Hyunwoo said. "Daeun, monitor everything from here. If something goes wrong, get us out of here fast." The three humans put on their spacesuits and entered the alien ship through an emergency airlock. The inside was dark and cold. Emergency lights flashed red and there was a strange smell in the air. They found the first alien in what looked like the command room. It was lying on the floor, barely breathing. The alien looked somewhat like a human, but its skin was blue, and it had 4 arms. Its eyes were large and very sad. "Help?" the alien whispered in broken English. The computer had taught it a few human words. So-Young knelt down beside the alien. "We're here to help. You're safe now." The alien tried to sit up. "I am Zilnara, captain of this ship. My people, the Velthara. We were running." "Running from what?" Hyunwoo asked gently. "The Korthax. They hunt us. They want to make us slaves. We tried to escape, but they found us." Jamin was checking the rest of the ship. "Captain, I found 3 more aliens. They're alive but hurt badly. And Captain, there are signs that this ship was attacked by weapons. Big ones." Zilnara grabbed Hyunwoo's arm with one of her 4 hands. Her grip was weak but desperate. "The Korthax, they have a base, hidden in the void sector. Hundreds of my people are there. Thousands of others, too. All slaves." She reached into a pocket and pulled out a small device. "These are the coordinates. Someone must warn the galaxy. The Korthax are coming, for everyone. Don't try to talk," So-Young said. "We're going to get you to our medical bay." But Zilnara shook her head. "Too late for me, but my crew, please save them. They are young. They have families. We'll save all of you, Hyunwoo promised. Zilnara smiled sadly. Your species. You have kind hearts. Be careful. The galaxy is not always kind to those who help others. She pressed the device into Hyunwoo's hand and closed her eyes. A few seconds later, she stopped breathing. Hyunwoo stood up slowly. He had never seen anyone die before, and it made him feel angry and sad at the same time. Let's get the others to our ship, he said quietly. They carried the 3 surviving aliens back to the New Sol. Da-un had prepared the medical bay, and the ship's computer started working to help the injured aliens. One of them was a young Velthara who looked scared but curious. His name was Veltar, and he kept staring at the human technology with wide eyes. Your ship, he said in his strange accent. It feels warm, safe, not like Korthax ships. What are Korthax ships like? So Young asked. Cold, metal. They smell like fear and pain. But your ship, it feels like home. As the New Sol flew away from the destroyed alien ship, Hyunwoo looked at the small device Zilnara had given him. It contained coordinates to a secret enemy base where hundreds of innocent people were being held as slaves. He thought about what the dying alien captain had said. The galaxy might not be kind to those who help others, but Hyunwoo knew that humans would always help people in trouble. It was just who they were. So Young, send a message back to Earth. Tell them what happened here. Tell them about the Korthax and what they're doing to innocent people. Yes, sir. What should I say about our plans? Hyunwoo looked at the device again. Tell them that humanity has made its first alien friends, and tell them that when someone asks for help, humans always answer. Da-un looked up from her engineering station. Captain, those coordinates Zilnara gave us, they're in a very dangerous part of space. If we go there, we might not come back. I know, Hyunwoo said. But she died trusting us to help her people. We can't let her down. Veltar, the young alien, heard this conversation. He looked amazed. You would risk your lives for people you don't even know. That's what friends do, Hyunwoo said simply. For the first time since his rescue, Veltar smiled. 6 months had passed since the rescue of the Velthara crew. Earth had changed in ways nobody expected. The 3 aliens lived in a special facility where human scientists and doctors worked to understand their needs. But it was not like a prison or a laboratory. It was more like a home. Veltar spent most of his time with Da-un Park in the engineering labs. The young Velthara was amazed by human technology. It was different from his own people's machines, but it worked in clever ways he had never seen before. Your engines, Veltar said one day as he watched Da-un work. They are strong but simple. My people make engines that are faster, but they break easily. Yours last for many years. Da-un smiled. We build things to last. But your jump drives are much better than ours. Maybe we could combine our technologies. This idea excited Veltar. For weeks, he and Da-un worked together. They created plans for new ships that used both human engineering and Velthara science. The results were amazing. These new ships could travel faster than anything either species had built before, and they were much stronger too. While Da-un and Veltar worked on ships, other humans were learning about Velthara culture. The aliens taught them about the galaxy beyond Earth. There were hundreds of different species living among the stars. Most of them traded peacefully with each other. They shared knowledge and resources, but there was a dark side to the galaxy. The Korthax Empire controlled large parts of space through fear and violence. They attacked peaceful species and made them into slaves. Anyone who fought back was destroyed completely. The Korthax believe that might makes right, explained Torvin, one of the other rescued Velthara. They think that strong people should rule over weak people. They do not understand cooperation or friendship. Ambassador Min Ho-yoon was Earth's main diplomat. He had spent months learning to speak the Velthara language. He wanted to understand everything about these new friends and their culture. On Earth, we have a saying, Min-ho told the aliens. No one is left behind. It means we don't abandon our friends no matter how dangerous things become. The Velthara were amazed by this idea. Their own culture valued helping others, but they had never met anyone who took it as seriously as humans did. News came that the Velthara Council wanted to meet with human leaders. The council was made up of the oldest and wisest Velthara. They governed all the free Velthara worlds. Elder Mordain led the council. He was very old even for a Velthara, and his blue skin had faded to a pale silver color. When he met with human representatives, his first words were surprising. "We declare a life debt to your species," he said solemnly. "You saved our people when you had no reason to do so. You risked your own lives for strangers. This is the highest honor we can give." President Elena Rodriguez was representing Earth at this meeting. She was confused by the term life debt. Mordain explained, "A life debt means that we owe you our lives. Anything you need, we will provide. Any help you ask for, we will give. This debt can never be fully repaid, but we will spend our lives trying." "That's very generous," President Rodriguez said. "But we didn't save your people because we wanted a reward. We did it because it was the right thing to do." This response amazed the Velthara Council even more. They had never met a species that helped others without expecting anything in return. "This is why we must help you," Mordain said. "Your kind hearts will make you targets. The Korthax hate anyone who shows mercy or compassion. They will see humanity as a threat to their way of life." The elder was right. 3 days later, a Korthax ship appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. It did not attack, but it sent a message that made everyone afraid. "Greetings, humans," the message said in perfect English. "I am War Commander Thakron of the Korthax Empire. You have something that belongs to us. You are hiding Velthara refugees. Return them to us immediately, or face the consequences." The message continued. "You are a young species. You do not understand how the galaxy works. Strong species rule. Weak species serve. There is no other way. Submit to Korthax authority now and we will allow you to live as our subjects. Refuse, and we will destroy your entire world." Captain Hyunwoo Kim was now promoted to admiral. He was in charge of Earth's small but growing space fleet. When he heard the Korthax message, he became very angry. "They want us to hand over our friends," he said. "They want us to become slaves. What should we tell them?" President Rodriguez called a meeting with all of Earth's leaders. They talked for hours about what to do. Some people were scared. The Korthax Empire was huge and powerful. Earth had only a few dozen ships, the Korthax had thousands. But in the end, the decision was easy. Humanity would not abandon their friends, and they would not bow down to bullies. Ambassador Min Ho-yoon was chosen to deliver Earth's response. He broadcasted on all frequencies so that every species in the galaxy could hear. To War Commander Thakron and the Korthax Empire, Min Ho said calmly, "We have received your message. Our answer is simple. We do not abandon our friends, and we do not bow to bullies. The Velthara are under our protection. If you want them, you will have to go through us." The message continued. "You say that might makes right. You say that strong species should rule over weak ones. But you are wrong. True strength comes from helping others. True power comes from standing together with your friends. Humanity chooses to stand with the oppressed against the oppressor." When this message reached other parts of the galaxy, it caused a sensation. Many species that had been conquered by the Korthax could not believe what they heard. Someone was actually standing up to the Empire. Someone was willing to fight for the freedom of others. On Earth, preparations for war began immediately. Jae-min Lee was put in charge of training human soldiers. He worked with military experts from around the world to develop new fighting tactics. "The Korthax fight like bullies," Jae-min explained to his trainees. "They use overwhelming force to crush their enemies quickly. They expect their opponents to surrender when they see how powerful the Korthax are, but we're not going to surrender. We're going to make them work for every victory." Da-Eun Park and Veltar finished their new ship designs. The first hybrid human Velthara vessels were being built in secret locations throughout the solar system. These ships were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. So Young Choi was promoted to communications director. Her job was to contact other species that had been hurt by the Korthax Empire. Many aliens were afraid to help openly, but they provided secret information about Korthax movements and weaknesses. The Velthara Council did more than just declare a life debt. They shared their advanced technology with humans. They taught human scientists about energy shields, advanced weapons, and faster-than-light communications. But the most important thing they shared was information. The Velthara had detailed maps of Korthax space. They knew where the enemy bases were located. They knew how many ships the Korthax had and what their weapons could do. The Korthax have one big weakness, Elder Mordain explained to human military leaders. They do not expect their enemies to work together. They attack one species at a time, and they rely on fear to keep others from helping. But if multiple species fought together, we could have a chance, Admiral Hyunwoo finished. More than a chance, Mordain said. We could win. As Earth prepared for the coming war, Veltar made a request. He wanted to join the human fleet as an engineer. His knowledge of both human and Velthara technology would be valuable in battle. You don't have to fight our war, Da'un told him. You've already given us so much. Veltar looked at her with his large, kind eyes. Captain Zilnara died believing that humans would help her people. Admiral Hyunwoo promised to save us, and he did. Now it is my turn to help. We are friends, and friends help each other. The war was coming, and everyone knew it. But humanity was not facing it alone. They had allies, they had advanced technology, and most importantly, they had something the Korthax Empire had never encountered before. They had hope. The Korthax attack came exactly 1 month after their ultimatum expired. War Commander Thakron led a massive fleet of 300 warships toward Earth's solar system. He expected this to be a quick and easy victory. The Korthax had conquered 47 different species using the same tactics: overwhelming force, brutal efficiency, and no mercy for those who resisted. But Thakron had never fought humans before. The first surprise came when his fleet dropped out of hyperspace near Pluto. Instead of finding a few primitive human ships waiting in fear, they discovered a well-organized defense network. Human and Velthara ships working together, using tactics the Korthax had never seen before. Captain Yoonji Nam commanded a squadron of 12 hybrid fighters. These small, fast ships had been built using both human engineering and Velthara technology. They could move faster than anything in the Korthax fleet, and they were much harder to hit. Lightning Squadron, this is Lightning Leader, Yoonji spoke into her radio. Remember the plan? Hit fast, hit hard, and get out before they can respond. We're not trying to destroy their whole fleet. We just need to make them angry and confused. The human fighters struck like wasps attacking a giant. They appeared from behind asteroids, fired their weapons, and disappeared again before the massive Korthax ships could turn to face them. Each attack destroyed 1 or 2 enemy fighters, but, more importantly, it made the Korthax fleet spread out to chase them. What is this? War Commander Thakron roared from his command ship. These insects are buzzing around us like gnats. Destroy them. But the Korthax ships were built for straightforward battles between large fleets. They were not designed to fight small, fast opponents who refused to stay still and fight properly. Lieutenant Dong Hyun Shin was leading a different kind of attack. While the fighters kept the enemy distracted, his team of Marines was doing something that terrified the Korthax soldiers. They were boarding enemy ships. Dong Hyun and his team used small, stealthy pods to attach themselves to Korthax vessels. Then they cut their way inside and fought the enemy crew in hand-to-hand combat. The Korthax had never experienced anything like this. Their enemies usually stayed far away and fought with big guns. They had never met warriors who would fight them face-to-face in the cold vacuum of space. Human Marines have taken over the destroyer Bloodfang, reported one terrified Korthax officer. They're fighting our soldiers inside the ship. Some of them are fighting without spacesuits in areas where the hull has been breached. This news shocked Thakron. No sane creature would fight in the vacuum of space without protection. But humans had developed special suits that let them fight effectively. Even in zero atmosphere, they were like space zombies that nothing could stop. The battle spread across multiple star systems as the war grew bigger. The Korthax Empire had expected to crush Earth quickly and then continue with their conquest of the galaxy. Instead, they found themselves fighting a war unlike anything they had ever experienced. Dr. Hei Wan-jung had set up field hospitals on 7 different planets. Her job was to treat wounded soldiers, but she did something that amazed everyone in the galaxy. She treated injured Korthax soldiers with the same care she gave to humans and Velthara. "Doctor," said one of her assistants, "these are enemy soldiers. They were trying to kill us. Why are we saving their lives?" Dr. Young looked up from the Korthax warrior she was treating. "Because that's what we do. We're doctors, not soldiers. Our job is to heal people, not judge them." This confused the captured Korthax soldiers. In their culture, enemies were either killed or enslaved. No one ever helped their opponents. When they returned to their own forces through prisoner exchanges, they told other Korthax about the strange humans who saved the lives of those who had tried to kill them. As news of humanity's resistance spread through the galaxy, something unexpected began to happen. Species that had been enslaved by the Korthax for decades started to rebel. The Gentari were crystal-like beings who had been forced to work in dangerous mines. Their bodies could process rare minerals that other species could not handle safely. For 20 years they had served as slaves, believing they had no choice. But when they heard that humans were fighting the Korthax Empire, everything changed. Elder Crystal Singer Nemtar called for all Gentari to rise up against their oppressors. "The humans have shown us that it is possible to fight back," Nemtar announced. "They risk their lives for strangers. They treat their enemies with kindness. If beings like this exist in the galaxy, then there is hope for all of us." The Gentari rebellion began on 17 mining worlds simultaneously. The crystal beings used their knowledge of mining equipment to destroy Korthax facilities. They turned their industrial tools into weapons and fought with desperate courage. The aquatic Nereidans lived on ocean worlds that the Korthax used as naval bases. These fish-like aliens had been forced to maintain underwater facilities for the Iduri enemy fleet. But when the revolution began, they sabotaged everything they could reach. "The Nereidans have flooded the underwater shipyard at Aquatica Prime," reported a panicked Korthax admiral. "Hundreds of our ships are trapped underwater. The fish people have somehow learned to coordinate their attacks across multiple planets." This coordination came from an unexpected source. The sectoids were a hive-minded insect species that could communicate instantly across vast distances. For years they had been enslaved and used as living communication networks, but now they were using their abilities to help the rebellion. The sectoid queens had made a decision that shocked even their own people. Instead of preserving their hives at all costs, they chose to risk everything to help the revolution. They coordinated attacks across 17 star systems at exactly the same time, making it impossible for the Korthax to respond effectively. "Mother Queen," asked one young sectoid, "why do we risk our hive for the humans? They are not our species." The ancient Mother Queen's mental voice was calm but determined. "Because, child, they have shown us something we had forgotten. Sometimes the greatest strength comes from helping those who cannot help themselves. The humans are teaching the galaxy to hope again. What had started as a war to destroy humanity had become a galaxy-wide revolution. Species that had never worked together before were now fighting side by side against their common enemy. But the Korthax Empire was far from defeated. War Commander Thakron had received reinforcements from the Empire's core worlds. His fleet now numbered over 1,000 ships, and he was angrier than he had ever been in his life. "These humans have turned the galaxy against us," he growled to his officers. "They have infected other species with their weakness and their foolish compassion. We will not just defeat them. We will destroy every world that has helped them. We will make an example that the galaxy will remember for 1,000 years." The Korthax began using more brutal tactics. They attacked civilian targets and destroyed entire cities. They hoped that by causing enough pain they could force the rebellion to surrender. But this strategy backfired. Instead of making people give up, the atrocities made them fight harder. Human soldiers who saw destroyed alien cities became more determined than ever to stop the Korthax Empire. Captain Hyunwoo Kim, now admiral of the human fleet, received reports of the latest Korthax attacks. Entire families of Velthara refugees had been killed. Gentari crystal gardens had been melted with acid weapons. Nereidan spawning grounds had been poisoned. "They think they can break our spirit by hurting innocent people," Hyunwoo said to his staff. "They don't understand that every atrocity they commit just proves why we have to stop them." So Young Choi, now director of Galactic Communications, was intercepting Korthak's military messages. The news was both good and bad. The good news is that their empire is falling apart, she reported. Rebellions are happening on hundreds of worlds. Their supply lines are being attacked constantly. Their soldiers are starting to question their orders. What's the bad news? Asked Admiral Hyunwoo. The bad news is that they're getting desperate. Desperate enemies do desperate things. Intelligence suggests they're planning something big, something that could destroy entire star systems. As the second year of the war began, both sides prepared for battles that would determine the fate of the galaxy. The Korthak's empire had the larger fleet and more powerful weapons, but the rebellion had something the empire had never faced before. They had hope, courage, and the unshakable belief that helping others was worth any sacrifice. The war was far from over, but the galaxy had learned something important. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness could change everything. And sometimes, standing up to bullies was the only way to make the universe a better place. 2 years into the war, Admiral Seok-jin Park stood on the bridge of the flagship Harmony and looked at the largest human fleet ever assembled. Seok-jin was Da-eun's older brother, promoted from engineer to admiral when the war demanded more leaders. Around his ship flew vessels from dozens of different species, all united in their fight against the Korthak's empire. The rebellion had grown beyond anyone's wildest dreams. What started as humanity's simple desire to help a dying alien had become a galaxy-wide revolution. But now came the most dangerous part of the war. "Admiral," reported Communications Officer Yoo Jin-han, "we're receiving a transmission from Korth Prime. It's being broadcast on all frequencies." "Put it on screen," Seok-jin ordered. The image that appeared made everyone on the bridge angry. Emperor Thakmor himself was speaking, standing in front of a massive holding cell filled with thousands of alien prisoners. Men, women, and children from dozens of species were crammed together behind energy barriers. "Attention, rebels," the Emperor said in his cold, mechanical voice. "You have caused enough trouble. These prisoners represent every species that has joined your pathetic rebellion. They are located in our maximum security prison on Korth Prime's moon. You have 1 day to surrender unconditionally, or they will all be executed, every last one of them." The transmission showed more camera angles of the prison. There were Velthara, families huddled together in fear, Gentari crystal children dim with terror, young Nereidans gasping in inadequate water tanks, sectoid workers separated from their hive queens and going insane from the isolation. "To make sure you understand we are serious," the Emperor continued, "we will begin executing 100 prisoners every hour until you surrender. Their deaths will be broadcast live throughout the galaxy, so everyone can see the price of rebellion." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in shocked silence. Everyone knew this was exactly the kind of evil thing the Korthaks would do, but knowing it and seeing it were different things. "How many prisoners are there?" Seok-jin asked quietly. Yoo-jin checked her instruments. "Our intelligence estimates between 50 and 100,000, sir. Maybe more." That meant the Korthaks could execute people for weeks before running out of hostages. It was the cruelest trap imaginable. "Sir," said Colonel Bora Kim from the Marine Station, "I have an idea. It's completely insane and will probably get us all killed, but it might work." Bora was one of the toughest soldiers in the human army. She had been fighting the Korthaks for 2 years and had never backed down from a challenge, no matter how dangerous. "Let's hear it," Seok-jin said. "The prison is on Korth Prime's moon. It's heavily defended, but all the defenses face outward to stop a normal attack. If we could get inside somehow." "The place is surrounded by minefields and defense platforms," Yoo-jin pointed out. "No ship could get through." "Not a ship," Bora said. "A person. If someone could sneak onto the moon and disable the prison's defenses from the inside, a rescue force might be able to get in." Tactical Officer Yoo Jin-han had been studying the problem on her computers. "Colonel Kim is right about one thing. The prison defenses are designed to stop ships, not individual infiltrators. But getting someone onto that moon would be a suicide mission. They'd never make it out alive." "Then we'll just have to make sure the mission succeeds," Bora said simply. "I volunteer to lead the infiltration team." Seok-jin looked at the colonel carefully. Bo-Ra, you understand what you're suggesting? This isn't just dangerous, it's almost certainly fatal. Sir, with respect, those are innocent people in there, families, children. They're going to die anyway if we don't do something. At least, this way they have a chance. The plan that developed over the next few hours was incredibly complex. Each species would contribute their unique abilities to make it work. The Velthera ships would provide speed and stealth technology to get the assault force close to the moon without being detected. The Gentari had developed crystal weapons that could cut through the prison's energy barriers. The Nereidans had diving suits that could work in space, allowing them to approach from unexpected angles. The sectoids would coordinate the timing of the attack across multiple fronts, but the key to everything was Colonel Bo-Ra Kim and her team of human marines. They would have to infiltrate the most heavily guarded prison in Korthak space and somehow disable its defenses from the inside. The good news is that the Korthaks don't expect anyone to be crazy enough to try this, Yujin Han reported. The bad news is that they don't expect it because it's completely insane. Perfect, Bo-Ra said with a grim smile. Insane is our specialty. The rescue mission launched 8 hours before the first scheduled executions. Bo-Ra and her team used a new type of stealth pod that combined human engineering with Velthara cloaking technology. They approached the prison moon from its dark side, where the sensors were weakest. Getting inside the prison was the hardest part. The team had to cut through multiple layers of security without triggering any alarms. They moved like ghosts through corridors filled with guard patrols and automatic weapons. "Control, this is rescue team," Bo-Ra whispered into her radio. "We're inside the prison. Beginning Phase 2. Phase 2 was disabling the prison's shields and weapons from the control room. But when Bo-Ra's team reached the control center, they found a horrible surprise. Emperor Thakmor was there in person, along with 50 of his elite guards. "So," the Emperor said calmly, "the humans have come to save the day. How predictable. Did you really think we wouldn't notice your pathetic infiltration attempt?" Bo-Ra realized it had been a trap from the beginning. The Korthaks had wanted them to try a rescue mission. They planned to capture the rescue team and execute them along with all the prisoners. "Your compassion makes you weak," Thakmor continued. "You cannot bear to see innocent people suffer, so you rush in without thinking. This is why the Korthaks rule the galaxy and soft-hearted species like yours serve us." "Maybe," Bo-Ra said, checking her weapons. "But there's one thing you don't understand about humans." "And what is that?" "When we're trying to save innocent people, we don't care about the odds." The fight in the control room was brutal and desperate. Bo-Ra's team was outnumbered 10-1, but they fought with the fury of people who knew that failure meant the death of thousands of innocents. One by one, the human marines fell to enemy fire. But each time one of them was hit, they made sure to take several Korthaks guards with them. Bo-Ra herself was wounded 3 times but kept fighting. "Ma'am," gasped Sergeant Taeho Kim, "I can reach the control panel. If I can disable the shields—" "Do it," Bo-Ra ordered. Taeho crawled across the floor under heavy fire. Korthak's energy beams burned the air around him, but he kept moving. When he reached the control panel, he used the last of his strength to smash the shield generators. The prison's defensive shields flickered and died. "Control, this is rescue team," Bo-Ra spoke into her radio with her dying breath. "Shields are down. Come and get them." Outside the prison, Admiral Seok-Jin Park watched the shields disappear. "All ships, this is Admiral Park. The shields are down. Rescue force, move in. Make their sacrifice count." The rescue fleet hit the prison moon like a hammer. Velthara ships carried Gentari crystal cutters who sliced through the prison walls. Nereidan aquamarines flooded the lower levels and evacuated prisoners through underwater tunnels. Sectoid workers coordinated the evacuation with perfect timing, but the most amazing thing happened inside the prison itself. When the Korthaks guards realized their shields were down and they were under attack, many of them simply stopped fighting. They had seen Colonel Bo-Ra Kim and her team die to save people they had never met. They had watched humans sacrifice themselves for alien strangers, and for the first time in their lives, many Korthak soldiers questioned what they were fighting for. "Why?" asked one young Korthak's guard as he put down his weapon. Why did they die for people who are not their own species? An old Velthara prisoner answered him. Because that is what good people do. They help others even when it costs them everything. The battle for Korth Prime's moon lasted 6 hours. When it was over, almost all the prisoners had been rescued. The cost was terrible. Colonel Bora Kim and most of her team had died in the control room. But their sacrifice had saved thousands of innocent lives. News of the rescue spread throughout the galaxy in hours. The sight of humans dying to save alien civilians broke something in the Korthax Empire's control over its own people. Younger Korthax soldiers began to desert. Officers questioned their orders. Entire planets that had served the Empire for centuries suddenly declared independence. The rebellion was led by Sub-Commander Grixtal, a young Korthax who had grown tired of his people's brutality. The humans have shown us a different way, he announced to his followers. They have shown us that strength comes from protecting others, not from hurting them. The Korthax civil war began 3 days after the prison rescue. It was the beginning of the end for the Empire that had terrorized the galaxy for so long. But Emperor Thakmor was not finished yet. In his rage and desperation, he was planning one final attack that would destroy everything the rebellion had accomplished. The war was about to enter its most dangerous phase. 5 years had passed since Captain Hyunwoo Kim first heard a distress signal from a dying alien ship. The galaxy had changed completely. Emperor Thakmor was dead, killed by his own people who had grown tired of endless war. The Korthax Empire had collapsed, and millions of enslaved beings were finally free. But winning the war was easier than building the peace that came after. President So-Min Lee sat in her office on Earth, looking at reports from across the galaxy. So-Min had once been communications officer So Young Choi on the ship New Seoul. Now she was the leader of Earth's government and one of the most respected voices in galactic politics. The problem was that freedom was messy. Some species wanted revenge against the Korthax. Others wanted to divide up the Empire's territory among themselves. A few groups were already fighting over resources and trade routes. "Madam President," said her aide, "Ambassador Kim is here for your meeting." Ambassador Hyunwoo Kim entered the office. He had changed a lot since his days as a starship captain. His hair was gray now, and he walked with a slight limp from an old war injury. But his eyes still held the same kindness that had led him to rescue 3 dying aliens 5 years ago. "So-Min," he said, using her first name as old friends do, "we have a problem. The Galactic Assembly is falling apart before it even gets started. The Galactic Assembly was supposed to be a new government for the free galaxy. Representatives from every species would work together to solve problems and prevent future wars. But after centuries of Korthax rule, many species had forgotten how to cooperate." "What happened now?" So-Min asked tiredly. "The Gentari want to claim all the crystal mines in the former empire. The Nereidans think they should control all the ocean worlds. The sectoids want to establish new hive colonies on 100 different planets, and half the former Korthax species are demanding reparations for war damages." So-Min rubbed her temples. Leading a galaxy was much harder than leading a single planet. "What do you think we should do?" "The same thing we've always done," Hyunwoo said simply. "Help them remember what we're all fighting for." 3 days later, So-Min stood before the Galactic Assembly on the neutral world of Haven. Representatives from over 200 species filled the Great Hall, and most of them were angry about something. "Friends," So-Min began, "we have spent 5 years fighting for freedom. We have sacrificed countless lives to build a better galaxy. Are we really going to throw it all away because we can't agree on who gets what?" Elder Crystal Singer Nemtar of the Gentari stood up. "With respect, President Lee, easy words from the species that lost the least in this war. Humans still have their homeworld. My people's crystal gardens were destroyed. Our children still glow dimly from the trauma. Admiral Kurval of the Nereidans agreed. The Gentari speak truth. My spawn siblings died in Korthax prison camps. The humans asked for cooperation. But what have they sacrificed?" So-Min felt her temper rising. Humans had sacrificed plenty. They had died in every major battle of the war. But getting angry would not solve anything. Instead, she did something unexpected. She began to cry. You want to know what humans have sacrificed? She said, her voice breaking. Let me tell you about Colonel Bo-Ra Kim. She died saving your people in a Korthax prison. Let me tell you about Admiral Da-Yoon Park, who gave her life protecting a sectoid colony world. Let me tell you about the thousands of human soldiers who died fighting for the freedom of people they had never met. The great hall became quiet. So-min continued, her voice growing stronger. But you know what the biggest sacrifice was? The biggest sacrifice was giving up the idea that we are all separate and different. The biggest sacrifice was learning to see all of you as family, not strangers. She looked around the hall at all the different alien faces. Humans didn't fight this war to gain territory or resources. We fought it because we believe that every person in this galaxy deserves to be free and happy, no matter what species they are. So-min paused and wiped her eyes. If that's not enough for you, if you would rather fight each other than build something better together, then we have failed. And Colonel Bo-Ra Kim and all the others died for nothing. The hall was completely silent. Then, slowly, Elder Veltar of the Velthara stood up. He was the same young alien who had been rescued 5 years ago. Now he was old and wise, a leader among his people. President Lee speaks truth, Veltar said. I was there when this all began. I saw Captain Hyunwoo risk his ship to save strangers. I saw humans choose to help people who could do nothing for them in return. They taught us that the strongest bonds in the galaxy are not made from fear or greed, but from the simple act of helping someone in need. One by one, other representatives began to stand. The Gentari Crystal Singer, the Nereidan Admiral, the Sectoid Queen Mother, and dozens of others. The young Velthara speaks wisdom, said Queen Mother Zixara of the Sectoids. My hive remembers the taste of freedom. It came not from our own strength, but from human compassion. We will not dishonor their gift by squabbling like territorial insects. Over the next several hours, the assembly worked out a new agreement. It was called the Favor Protocol, based on a simple human idea. When someone needs help, those who can provide it will do so, with the understanding that kindness given will eventually be returned. Instead of dividing up the galaxy's resources, they would share them. Instead of each species claiming territory, they would work together to rebuild worlds damaged by the war. Instead of seeking revenge against the Korthax, they would help them learn new ways of living. The hardest part was dealing with the former Korthax worlds. Many species wanted to punish them for centuries of oppression. But humanity proposed something different. Revenge will not bring back the dead, Ambassador Hyunwoo told the assembly, but mercy might save the living. The Korthax people are not evil. They were taught that might makes right, but they can learn better ways. The assembly established truth and reconciliation councils on every former Korthax world. Former slaves worked together with former masters to heal old wounds and build new communities. It was slow, difficult work, but it was working. Sub-Commander Grixtal, who had led the Korthax rebellion against the Empire, became the first Korthax representative to the Galactic Assembly. His first speech was simple but powerful. My people have done terrible things, he said. We cannot undo the past, but we can choose to do better in the future. The humans have shown us that true strength comes from lifting others up, not putting them down. We ask for the chance to prove that Korthax can learn to be good neighbors. The galaxy was still not perfect. There were still conflicts and disagreements, but they were solved with words instead of weapons, with cooperation instead of conquest. 10 years after the first rescue, Captain Ji-hoon Park stood on the bridge of his ship, the New Harmony. Ji-hoon was Admiral Seok-jin Park's son, representing the new generation that had grown up in a free galaxy. His crew was as diverse as the galaxy itself. His first officer was a Velthara engineer. His weapons specialist was a reformed Korthax warrior. His communications officer was a sectoid queen daughter who could coordinate with multiple ships simultaneously. Captain, said the Nereidan navigator, we're receiving a distress signal from the edge of explored space. Unknown species under attack by unidentified aggressors. Ji-hoon didn't hesitate for even a second. Set course for the distress signal. Maximum speed. Sir, said the young Korthax officer, we don't know anything about these aliens. They could Be dangerous. They could be hostile. Ji-hoon smiled. Maybe they are. But someone needs help and we're in a position to provide it. That's what we do. As the New Harmony jumped to hyperspace, Ji-hoon thought about the story his father had told him many times. How a simple rescue of 3 dying aliens had changed the entire galaxy. How one act of kindness had sparked a revolution that freed billions of people. The ship dropped out of hyperspace near a battle zone. An unknown species was being attacked by robotic ships with no life signs. The aliens were losing badly. This is Captain Ji-hoon Park of the Galactic Assembly vessel New Harmony. He broadcast on all frequencies. We have received your distress call. We are here to help. The response came in a strange language that his computer quickly translated. Please, help us. The machines have been hunting us for generations. We are the last of our people. Don't worry, Ji-hoon replied as his ship moved to engage the robot attackers. You're not alone anymore, help is here. On the bridge of the New Harmony, the diverse crew worked together with perfect coordination. Velthara technology powered their shields. Shantari crystal weapons cut through enemy armor. Narration water cooling systems kept their engines running at maximum power. Sectoid coordination allowed them to fight as one mind with many bodies. And leading them all was a human captain who had learned from his father's generation that when someone calls for help, good people always answer. As the robot ships retreated from the superior technology and tactics of the Galactic Assembly, the rescued aliens sent a grateful message. Thank you for saving us, Captain Park. How can we ever repay such kindness? Ji-hoon's answer would have made his father proud. No payment necessary. When you're ready, just pass the favor along to someone else who needs help. That's how we make the galaxy a better place. The New Harmony set course for home.